Hey everybody, welcome back. We just hit 300,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel. The Noah Samson YouTube channel, named after Noah Samson, who is me. I'm Noah. Hi. And I just wanted to say thank you. You know, seriously, trying my hardest to get real earnest and serious with y'all and say, actually, thank you. It's really cool. I'm super grateful for all of you because you are very supportive, and also you're not afraid to check me if I'm being a weird little guy sometimes. Like last week's video when I made all those horribly insensitive comments about bugs. I think personally, and I've said this before, I think we should kill, and if you want, dismember, but mainly kill all non-essential bugs. What I mean by that is bugs that aren't bees. You guys kept me in check and taught me that worms are valid, bugs are valid, insecticide is wrong, and I'm sick to my stomach that I ever thought of doing it. But in celebration of 300,000 subscribers, we're gonna do a Q&A today. I made a little post on my community tab asking for some questions, and you guys sent them in. So that's what we're gonna be doing today. Let's do that. Why not? Fuck it, I don't care. Do you ever feel like you're losing out on things because of your job or YouTube work? Like that casual friends you get from the office or whatever? And if not, how do you replace that kind of incidental social contact? Honestly, not at all. I am very much a person that enjoys being at home, that enjoys kind of having my solitude. So in many ways, it is the perfect job. And I've had jobs before. I worked at Papa John's. I was like a delivery driver. Right now, I'm just here delivering pizzas for Papa John's. And, you know, I gotta say, I couldn't ask to be in a better place in life. You know, I support the troops, you know, America and our freedom. And I also support the customer. And so with this job at Papa John's, I can do both. And I think my personality tendency isn't to make friends really. It's to just do the work and then leave because I don't know. It would probably be different now because I was younger and I was very much more socially anxious than I am, even though I still am pretty socially anxious. But the place that I do get that social contact from is from the internet. I have a lot of friends that do what I do, and it's been nice keeping sort of a community of people around me to just talk to and play games with, chat with, send each other funny, silly messages, all this crap. Even in school, I really wouldn't be making friends in class. I'd hang out, I'd have people I'd do group projects with, but beyond that, it's just kind of go and then go home. And I don't know, it's whatever, but moral of the story, I'm okay. And I have my cat and cool roommates that I like a lot. Okay, next one. How do you construct the cohesive arguments you make? I feel like I can easily get sidetracked and end up discussing something usually relevant and often not being able to bring the conversation back to the topic at hand. Any advice on how you keep yourself on track would be helpful. Thanks. I'm gonna be honest, this is something I feel like I struggle with a lot, especially when it comes to writing. I will write arguments kind of that deviate from the point, kind of like you're talking about. And what's helped me most is just practicing it, I guess. As you do it more, you start to recognize where there's usually one or two things in a thing that you're reading or engaging with that are the important things. And if you can identify those and stick on them, then that's good. Also, you might have undiagnosed ADHD because that's what I have, and it very unhelpful for forming coherent arguments. This is not a medical advice video. I am just a guy. What's your favorite language? Have you ever wanted to study any languages in particular? Also, what do you think about capybaras? Are they based? Capybaras are a very cool, very niche, very strange animal. The way they are shaped reminds me of furniture for some reason, but they get the thumbs up from me. Based in Capypil. But I can't say I have a favorite language or that I would want to study one because I just don't have a great memory. And I know it's possible through practice and repetition, but there's currently feel no pressure to do that. Do you think you'll always be doing politics, or do you think you might move into areas like gaming or something? Love your stuff, man. Thanks, Vivian. I don't know, actually. I did just start a second channel, and I'll probably be covering some different things that are less political. It's called Noah Place. I'd highly recommend go following it before we hit 100K randomly out of nowhere. I think on this channel, I will probably keep things pretty political in terms of essays and things like that. But I also do live stream, and I sometimes play games. I've been playing Dark Souls, was playing a little Minecraft a little while ago. But I think for now, the content is going to be essays that are pretty political in this channel, and then second channel videos that are more laid back and maybe about internet topics and social issues. And I don't know, I'm excited for that channel, so I seriously go check it out. But thank you again, and yeah, that's my answer to your question. Beth asks, what is something that you realized was misogynist that you had thought or believed? Growing up under a misogynistic society as a man and deprogramming from it is fascinating. This is a really good question. For me, it is honestly the biggest thing that sticks out is my relationship with sex and my relationships with women. Growing up, for whatever reason, I felt a lot of social factors that led me to view sex as this kind of conquest and achievement thing, less about pursuing things like that for like a mutual sense of attraction, romance, or whatever, and more about deriving value from it as a man, as a form of like performative masculinity almost. What really sucks about it is that, you know, red pill, black pill, these types of places will hold this thing as high value, that you can do this thing, that you can achieve the pursuit of sex or whatever. But once that actually happens, your value, like, it becomes this meaningless thing. Seriously inhibits your ability to actually form relationships if you are viewing things through this one lens. And that's what happened to me, and that's what I started realizing was like, oh, I actually focus on this so much that it's unhealthy. And so slowly trying to unlearn those things and form a healthier relationship around how I pursue these sorts of things has been very freeing in a weird way, and hard to articulate because it's something you sort of go through on your own. It doesn't have to be, but I think just as guys, we don't really tend to talk about it that much, and I didn't when I was younger. But yeah, so to answer the question, objectification and unlearning that to be seeing everyone as humans and pursuing relationships as such. Thank you. Thank you to ExpressVPN for sponsoring today's video. ExpressVPN is an app that encrypts your network data through a VPN server, or virtual private network server, to protect your privacy. Everything you're doing online is being tracked and looked at by some creep weirdo ISP or internet service provider, and we forfeit so much information and data over to that creep. ExpressVPN comes in and says, knock it off, leave them alone, get your little grubby little fingers out of their data and information. No more thinking a thought and then getting a personalized Instagram ad 13 seconds later with ExpressVPN. Aside from privacy and protection, ExpressVPN has some other pretty cool features, like their location feature, which lets you teleport all over the world to gain access to streaming content that's unavailable in your country. I used this recently. Actually, there's a show I wanted to watch on Netflix that's only available on Canadian Netflix. So I just sweep it, bip, bip, and boom, I can watch it, enjoy the show. No more sneaking around the Canadian border looking for motels. So all of that is why I'd recommend ExpressVPN, and it's super easy. You just tap one button and boom, you are protected. Find out how you can get 3 months of ExpressVPN for free by visiting expressvpn.com/Samson or clicking on the link in the description below. That's expressvpn.com/SAMSEN. Not the biblical Samson, none of that. Thanks again, and now let's get back to the Q&A video. Holy Dive says, how do you stay so calm and collected? I feel like every time I get into an argument or I am correcting someone, I get all flustered. The answer is I don't, actually. Like in real life, when I'm having conversations about politics, it is very different from what you see presented in like an essay, because, you know, you have time to think and chill and write things out and delete things if you feel like you're wrong after researching or whatever. When you're talking with someone one-on-one, it is super easy to get flustered because that's just how conversations go if you're being kind of challenged on things. What I will say is it's been easier for me to have those conversations lately, just from the pursuit of trying to get to the bottom of like what people are trying to say, and dropping all pretenses about what they might mean or how it feels to you, and just really like asking, like genuinely, if you don't understand or if you feel like they could better articulate it, just like asking them to do that and trying to reciprocate that and just like come to some kind of understanding. Because again, changing minds isn't about having like one conversation where you prove them wrong and then they go, I am communist now, thank you so much. It's about repeated exposure to ideas that, you know, are preferable to the ones that they already have. Also, I did notice it says correcting someone. Correction, I feel like, implies you stepping in to say this is wrong and this is the correct thing to think in a way. And even if something's like blatant misinformation, like someone spreading fucking election fraud on Twitter or whatever, presenting them with evidence a lot of times just won't do anything. So if you think about that going in, then it's gonna be less of a big deal when people go, oh, you're fake news. What would you say is a part of creating videos or any part of being on YouTube that people usually underestimate or don't understand? Thank you so much for looking through these. No problem, John. I think editing, honestly, is the big thing. Good editing is seamless and keeps you engaged and keeps you entertained. Sometimes it's not seamless. Sometimes you kind of drop some memes, and that's fine, but it does take a lot of time and effort, and like really, the really good editing does take that. If it were possible to have such an impact, what would be the most significant message you would instill in the youth or future of humanity for them to never forget? It would be to think critically about the posts you're reading online and try to have funny tweets. Be a free thinker. Everyone think freely. Buy my merch that says I am a free thinker on it. Everyone wear it at the same time in the public square. I don't know. This is a tough question to answer. Communism, I guess. In an ideal world, YouTubers will never have this impact. So, does the idea of your parasocial relationship with viewers ever cause negative emotions or hesitations in things you say or do? This is a really good question. Sometimes I'll catch myself on streams making comments like, oh, don't think about that in a parasocial way. Oh, don't get too weird about whatever. But after streaming a little bit more lately, I'm kind of coming to the realization that it's okay to have some sort of interaction with the people that are in your audience, because there's not really much you can do to just negate all parasociality. Obviously, there are extreme examples, but for the most part, the people in my audience are very cool. When I'm hanging out with the chat, everyone's having a good time, and they're very funny, and they're very nice, and they're very wholesome, and I like that about people, and I want them to know that if they're cool. But it does have to be stressed at the end of the day that I'm just like providing content and a service, and even in the case that we're hanging out in a stream chat, the most parasocial of possible setups between a viewer and creator, it is still a consumable product that you're consuming. You get to be a part of it though, because you get to be on the little chat screen, but still consuming yourself, I guess. I don't know. What do you think is the future of debate bros like Vosh? Do you see it as a trend that will die with time or continue as it is now? This is an interesting question, because those guys like Vosh and Destiny get a ton of views each month, in the tens of millions usually, which is a lot more than most political creators that drop like video essays. However, their growth has stagnated in the past like year or maybe 2 or 3. This is something like they've talked about. I think Vosh had a video recently. I don't know, it was recommended to me about his sub growth and how it's like not really growing. And I know political streamers like them, and Hassan somewhat, but he's kind of an outlier, rely on major political events like war in Ukraine, election season, stuff like that, to gain more traction and growth, because they're covering the events live in a consistent manner. However, no, it will not die, because they have, 100,000 people that will watch a video a day from them, and that's how they get, tens of millions of views each month. Very dedicated fan base. Although in terms of growth, I think essays are the way, because of their discoverability factor, their virality factor. The sort of planned out presentation and editing and structure usually allows for a more sort of coherent piece of commentary, which is not me calling debate bros incoherent, but generally for new viewers. And what drives virality on YouTube is watch time and engagement, combined with, thumbnails and titles and everything. But I think for a lot of new people, you click on a video and it's a guy in Gamer Zone chatting, usually less compelling than something that's more produced. And that's, I think, just a general rule. And I don't think they would disagree with that. However, I will say, if you are wanting to get in content, learn how to do essays, because it's easier to grow. So I don't think that's like, and then once you've grown from that, make a streaming channel and pump out content. Like my second channel, No Place, which actually isn't streaming, it's just more chill. It's all closer to streaming. Anyways, what are your inspirations for content? You have such a distinct sense of humor, and I love your style of content. Thank you very much, Hugging Tentacles. I'm just gonna scroll through my subscriptions, and the people I watch, most of these people, really like them a lot. Very cool. Inspirations for content. You gotta watch a lot of content when you're making content to be like, oh, what is everybody doing these days? What is all this stuff? But yeah, a lot of left tubers, a lot of commentary people, a lot of funny, cool, chill, regular peeps that are good at content and all this stuff. Hi, congrats. I'm very proud of you. If you weren't creating content, what might you be doing as an occupation or hobby? The last thing I did before content creating full-time was video editing. So maybe that, or maybe something that I did before that, which was music video stuff. I used to do like visual art and music video stuff, just kind of independent. And I feel like that is where I would begin if for some reason YouTube was evaporated off the face of the earth tomorrow, which would suck actually. That kind of scares me, because it's possible. Sometimes people just delete files on the internet and oops, YouTube's gone. However, I do want to have a farm someday. So I want to be a farmer, or just some land, like a nice plot in the woods, in the middle of the woods. How do you grow such a glorious mustache? I so badly want one. Let me zoom in real quick. Hi. Thank you for the kind comment. But I don't know, it just started growing one day, and then I kept it up, and now it's still here, connected to my face. I used to always make the joke that it's fake, but would a fake mustache do this? I would say just rock what you got, because if you can't grow a mustache, there's probably stuff that can help you with that, but also it might be better to just rock what you got. I don't know, any mustache growers, let me know what you did get it, because mine just showed up on my face one day. What bands are you currently hooked on, and what was your last live concert event? So my last live concert event was this place called Paradiso, which is at the Gorge Amphitheater in Washington, and it's like an EDM festival. It was a few years ago, but it was a lot of fun. If you want a quick look at my Spotify likes, I'll scroll through them right now just for you. Lots of good stuff in here fun stuff. I go through like little kicks of different genres and different types of music, and it is what it is. Lots of like drum and bass, jungle, electronic music, funky beats. There's a bunch of British grime back there, British rap, and funky jams. And sadly, my music taste is dictated by what is on my Spotify likes. However, Sewer Slut is the answer to like the artists that I listen to the most, because I do listen to Sewer Slut the most. And Radiohead. Not a question, but you, Hassan, and Tara Mooney are the only ones maintaining my faith in humanity these days. A little birdie tells me that Tara might be over around here soon, so because Hassan and I both live in LA and Tara might be here, maybe we collab. Don't mark my words, but that would be pretty crazy. 'Cause I'm pretty sure we all basically have the same hair as well. Crazy. What was the moment you began venturing into leftism? Age, what experience or event had the most effect on you into your radicalization? I don't know how I ended up listening to Chapo in 2016, Chapo Trap House, the podcast, but that was when I first got exposed to leftism, right around the Bernie Sanders campaign for presidency. That combined with my experiences of aforementioned labor under Papa John's, soul-crushing alienation of being a cog in the pizza boy machine. Specifically just starting at Bernie's arguments about inequality, wealth inequality, and going from there into political media and eventually getting into some theory, not a lot, but some, via YouTube reading lists, which I've talked about before, but I'll show on the screen now probably. With Papa John's, it was like the feeling of getting home after a shift, and many of you, I'm sure, understand this, where it's just like you don't want to do anything except go to bed or just like tune out. And I did feel that a lot with school and stuff, but never like I did at Papa John's. Don't want to go back to Papa, man. I don't want to go back. But understanding that for the vast majority of humanity right now, that is the work setup, does drive my kind of political and ideological worldview, probably more than anything. I will articulate that in my content when I feel I am capable, but at this present moment, I do not feel that way, so. Since everyone has deep questions, I'll just ask, thoughts on snails as pets? It seems you may have some bias here, or a snail in the race. I think snails are cool. I think they have a cool thing on their back, shells. And if someone anywhere were to be able to put a tiny harness and a tiny leash on a snail and walk it like a dog, I think that would be the coolest thing on earth. Not gonna Google it, but I respect you if you do and find something cool. What's your favorite album, or if you can't pick one, favorite artist, or even just music genre in general? My favorite album of all time is In Rainbows by Radiohead. And I talked about the music stuff a little bit earlier, but probably drum and bass, or jungle, or breakcore. As an epic gamer boy, what are your favorite games of all time? I play League of Legends. This is disgusting. I'm working on it, but I do like that game quite a bit. It is my most problematic and toxic trait. I try to play Outer Wilds and all these cool artistic games that everyone says it'll change your life, and then I forget and I play League instead, and you all should hit me with a stick for it. But growing up, I played GameCube, lots of great games, Custom Robo, Kirby Air Ride. I played the Metroid that was for DS, as well as the Metroid for GameCube. The DS Metroid went crazy though, and Halos 2 and 3 probably. Ooh, and Call of Duty Zombies. What is your general thoughts on tactical leftist unity, such as unity between MLs, DemSocs, and the like, to reach certain goals such as anti-war or trade union rights? Furthermore, what is your general ideology? And if you don't really subscribe to one, what is your general position on the left? P.S. Love the videos. You're doing the Lord's work. Keep it up. Well, thank you for the comment. Very nice comment. The thing about leftist unity is that it hasn't ever really been a thing. Andrewism, shout out Andrewism, has a great video on this. And I would recommend the Revolutions podcast, season 10, which is on the Russian Revolution and the backstory of Marx and Engels and the anarchist people, and how basically any rift that you see online when people are tweeting at each other mad is a rift that's like 200 fucking years old, and it's not going to be solved via the Twitter timeline. Not that people think it will be, but understanding that there are serious ideological rifts on the left is very important. However, moving forward to what you're talking about unity for like anti-imperialism and workers' rights, I think is cool and good. Unfortunately, this conversation is almost always an extremely online conversation, like the use of these labels. I guess in summary, unity for those things is good, but I don't know how that works when it comes to the internet and real world politics. And the second comment about my ideology, I don't do that. So reason being, I think when you use labels, there's automatically certain prescriptions that are applied to you about your views and certain ways in which conversations play out. That is annoying and not anything that I want to be a part of. I'm just the guy that's like, yeah, fucking get it. You quote tweet and get that guy real good. I'll be here thinking about the dialectical elements of the conversation because I'm better and smarter. No, because I just am a weak counter-revolutionary bread tuber. Anyways, cheeky answer, but there it is. Are you a sparkling water enjoyer? If so, what's your favorite flavor? I like bubbly, I like LaCroix. I like any type of flavor that's not banana or something. I don't think they have banana flavored sparkling water in those brands, but maybe they do, and if they do, I don't like it. But the rest of them are good. Citrus is great, in my opinion. What is your favorite cryptid or mythological creature? Goblin, baby, goblin. Me pointing at you goblins out there. Shout out, R.I.P. How do you deal with or think about the fact that very few people out of many will actually have their opinions changed from online content? It all feels pointless from time to time to know that even with evidence, people will not change their minds. What's your take on this? I totally understand the frustration, especially if you've dealt with it in your life, that giving people evidence of something and them saying not accepting it is extremely frustrating, and I get it, but nihilism and pointlessness, I don't feel like is the answer. Me personally, I don't. Because again, if I make a video and a bunch of people see it, and then just like one person changes in some way that I feel like is towards a better, more sort of equitable world, then that is a win. And I don't know, it's sort of tertiary because content isn't activism, but if that effect is achieved in some sense, then that is kind of always a good thing. I get it though, I totally get it. The nihilism is doomerism, it happens, but it's also kind of cringe, and there's some videos on it that are good, maybe. I don't know. Watch these. If you were to make a street interview, what type of questions would you ask? I was thinking about that a while ago when I was doing videos on these kind of misogynist street interview guys, but I think it would be a lot of fun just being silly and asking silly questions. I think the go-to easy ones is like relationships and dating, and that's probably what's hot right now. So if I were to do it, I would do that. Excuse me, sir, what's your dad's body count? I don't know. Most street interviews are cringe and bad, but some of them are good. Shout out to Channel 5. Will you go on more live streams or some form of live content to debate somebody in real time? Also, congrats on 300K. Thank you. I'm like so deeply uninterested in live debate for the simple fact that if I'm trying to achieve something in terms of presenting an idea, I just work way better writing it and presenting it in a video format. Simple. I get the argument that challenging someone's beliefs live to kind of parse out where their thought processes are wrong is valid and like a valid thing to want to do. That's why I've tried to make clear that debate on its own is not a bad thing. Making an essay that has arguments in it is a form of debate. It's just done turn-based. That's the meme. Turn-based debate, bro. But I just know the way that I prefer to work, and that's it. If people have an issue, make a video and I'll talk about it. I was watching this one Fresh and Fit thing recently of like just the most freakish interview I've ever seen, and I was thinking it would be fun to just go there with like a friend that I trust somewhat and just like chill and talk and try and like be like normal and not like whoa, but I'm just not the most confrontational person, so like there's only so many times that I can be like, what are you talking about right now, before it just becomes redundant, and I don't know. Who knows? Maybe in the future sometime, but we'll see. Do you ever get upset about people who negatively talk about you, or does it not bother you that much? Honestly, after doing this for like a year and a half now, it's just whatever. I feel like I've taken some strides into understanding where I'm at, what I'm doing, where my strengths and weaknesses are. So it's fine. Like if people are being weird and negative, that's fine. If people are providing criticism, I do have like rejection sensitivity. So I'm like, it hurts, but ultimately I know it's usually good. And people that check me on stuff are usually coming at it from like a totally valid place. And I think that's like super important as a creator with a platform, to just be open and willing to like get where people are coming from. At maximum volumes though, doing that is just a recipe for disaster for your mental health, and I've learned that as well. Sometimes just turn the comments off, but if I'm feeling like it, checking out what people are saying is helpful for me. One thing that is just deeply cringe to me is when people dredge up like old beefs and then just use it to dunk on you. Boss destroy you, made you look like a little bait. I know. I've already said I get it. Look, you got me good, all right? But it's been a year. Please get some new material, do something else. That's why, like, if I blocked you for saying that, it's because it's just cringe, Grow up, move on. What would your ideal solution to echo chambers on platforms like Facebook and YouTube be? Deleting them. Or, okay, to be honest, Twitter has this new thing that I kind of like, kind of interesting, where if a tweet that has misinformation in it goes viral, some information will pop up underneath it. That's basically, I think, decided on by like group votings or like most like replies or corrective measures. I don't know how it happens, but it presents you with added context to the tweet. Okay, here's a recent one. Brianna Wu tweeted, according to the Washington Post, the number of men under 30 who have never had sex has tripled in the last 10 years. This is an astonishing statistic. Twitter now has this thing where it says readers added context they thought people might want to know, which was that the article is referencing sex in the last year, not ever. And the number that's tripled has happened, just recently. And I mean, she put this there, I'm pretty sure, but it's good to have this because when a tweet goes viral, that's technically not like incorrect, but added context is necessary, then people can have that now, and that's good. I don't know what that would look like on YouTube or Facebook, but something along those lines. Thank you. How did you get such great hair, head, and mustache? Born with it. If you think about it, they're kind of the same thing right now. It's like this, you put it on here, and then it slopes down, and yeah, it's a 2-for-1 special. That's how I got it. It's free, cheap. What did your channel consist of content-wise before it evolved into what it is now? Or has it always been this way conceptually from day one? I started out by finding these weird guys that I'd find and making fun of them, and then eventually I discovered the BreadTube subreddit, which is where I started posting my work, and it started to become more political because I saw what other people were making and I got interested in looking at leftism and blah 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 blah. So now politics definitely informs my work more by like watching more political creators and seeing how they approach topics and trying to, I don't know, do that sort of. But like with a lot of things, like the manosphere stuff that I've covered, it still has heavy remnants of the vibes of just finding some guy that's saying something weird and be like, yo, what's up, man? What? Why? I come from the world of like commentary YouTube in terms of consumption, where things are presented in a context that is self-evidently funny and you're riffing and joking and having a laugh, and that is a markedly different context than a lot of essays, because essays is like argumentation. You're expecting the person to not necessarily rely on any pretenses about the content itself. You kind of got to work for it in a weird way. Not to say that being funny and making humor isn't work, because it is. It's just a different sort of thing for a different sort of audience. I am, again, super excited for this second channel because I hope it'll be like a little more creatively stimulating to not have to feel constrained into making an essay or whatever, which again, I don't have to, but that's the way I've been internalizing the surroundings of the content world. So I got to come up with a catchphrase for that channel other than, you want a cool YouTube channel? I know a place, but because it's like, okay, well, it's good, but could be better. I know you're a big nonfiction reader. Do you read fiction? If so, any favorite authors or books? Let me go grab some. Harry. Okay. I'm gonna switch the camera now because I have it on reverse. All-Timer, Cat's Cradle by Kurt Vonnegut. Funny, weird, great, amazing. Dune books. Read Dune. Great book, great books. If you haven't seen the new movie yet, read the books before you watch the movie. This is a fucking amazing book, and The Mountains Echoed. And this author, Khaled Hosseini, is also amazing. 5 People You Meet in Heaven. Great book. Read it as a young lad. Liked it a lot. Oh, and the same with this one, I Am the Messenger by Marcin Zusak. Fun, silly, weird, good, humorous. I like kind of that type of stuff. What is your least favorite vegetable? It's a tie between like squash and zucchini. I don't fuck with any of that. Broccoli's cool, potatoes cool, carrots cool, tomatoes cool. I know probably 2 of those aren't actually technically vegetables, but don't be weird. If it goes in a stew, it's the vegetable for you, is what many are arguing in today's society. Why do you do what you do? What drives you to make the long form content you make? I have no idea. I kind of stumbled into essays and stuff, like I said earlier, from just learning about LeftTube and how people make things, but I don't know. I think things might change up soon. There's no real mission statement other than, find something weird and just be a goofy guy about it, and then make political commentary if it feels necessary. And in today's day and age, it usually is. You don't have 300k subs. Why you jumping the gun, dude? Slow down. Got him. To be fair, I did have like 298 when I asked, so I was being a greedy boy. Thoughts on BDSM? Never got into it too much. I know a lot of people really fuck with it, so shout out. One time a girl asked me to tie her to her bed frame, and she handed me this like silk kind of thing, like ribbon almost, and I don't know how to tie knots, and so I kind of did this weird little bow thing. And it slowly started to unravel, and it was kind of like we both knew, oh, this isn't actually not sort of kinky, it's just kind of falling apart. But, you know, we will maybe one day learn how to be a sailor first. I think that's what people do before they do BDSM, sailing. Anyways, what's your least favorite sauce? I'm like a #1 mayonnaise hater, unless I don't know mayonnaise is a part of the equation. If mayonnaise is sneaky in a sandwich, you know, whatever. But mayonnaise, if I see that damn jar, I'm out. You know, I don't, what even is mayonnaise? I don't know. It's not my job to educate me. Who do you believe is the most problematic personality on the Daily Wire and why? Ben Shapiro, Michael Knowles, Matt Walsh, etc. It's weird because all of these freak grifters are evil, you know, but in their own varying ways. I think Walsh is particularly insidious when it comes to like trans rights. When I see people talking about what is a woman as if it's some groundbreaking piece of, you know, documentary filmmaking and not just the lamest, cringest, most out of touch, most blatant intentional misrepresentation of, you know, what trans liberation means, I say this is probably bad. Candace Owens might be up there though. I don't know if she's like officially Daily Wire or what. I know she does Prager as well. Something particularly insidious about that grift, and it's nakedly a grift. I think she's one of the most blatantly like in it for the cash, and that's, you know, it is what it is. Libs of TikTok isn't on the Daily Wire, but Libs of TikTok might be like one of the most problematic media outlets because they're directly cited by actual politicians a lot of times, and they're informed, these politicians, by this type of misrepresentation of, you know, the LGBTQ community. So all bad, hate it, hate to see it, thumbs down. Why do you hate bugs? When I did all that bug hating in that last video, it was mostly from a place of I have like bug bites all over me because there's like one mosquito that's in my room and I can't find him, but he bites me at night, and it's very annoying because I don't like bug bites. I'm itchy. When I find him, I'm gonna get rid of him. If you're watching this, buddy, you know. But I also am like I get like viscerally freaked out by like stuff flying by my ears. I'm just kind of a jumpy person, and so when stuff flies or lands on me, I'm a total freak about it, and I don't know how to work on myself. How do you wish people would perceive your channel? Satirical, political commentary. What drove you to start your channel to begin with? I don't really know, honestly. I'm kind of, again, I'm in like this weird middle phase of what I want to do moving forward. I wouldn't say I do satire per se. I mean, I like just joke around a little bit, but like when I describe it to people that ask, I just say like sort of left politics with some social commentary, and I leave it at that. But yeah, bad answer, sorry. Hello, Noah. Do you think you could answer this question? Yep. What was your college major? Arts, media, and culture with a specific focus in film. Relationship advice on how to help men with emotional development. Okay, depends on what your relationship situation is. If you're in a relationship that's going well and that is something you're interested in doing, I would say just, you know, start having conversations about emotions and fucking asking questions about why Mr. Guy feels the way he does and sharing your emotions and all this stuff. Okay, I think that I'm just tired now, so that's it. But thanks so much for sending in questions, and thank you again for 300k, and onwards and upwards for the world. Don't forget second channel, blah blah blah. Thanks again to ExpressVPN for sponsoring the video, and yeah, I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.